In Charlottesville, Central Virginia, and all across the nation, students and teachers stopped to remember the lives lost when a shooter opened fire at a Florida high school 1 month ago. Thousands gathered at the University of Virginia to raise their voices and take a stand.
Gun violence doesn't discriminate.
How Virginia senators in Washington are responding and what students are planning next to convince lawmakers to keep them safe. Your NBC29 team coverage starts right now.
Live in high definition from the area's most experienced news team. This is NBC29 HD News at 6.
Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight at the University of Virginia, where arguably the largest group came together this morning to send a message to lawmakers.
The Student Council there organized today's walkout on grounds to show students are passionate about the issue of gun control. They say they want change immediately before more lives are lost. NBC29's Megan Moriarty is on grounds at UVA, where another demonstration is about to get underway.
Hi, Casey and Steve. Right now, UVA students are getting ready to perform their second demonstration of the day. They're meeting here at the amphitheater, and they plan to march all around grounds to protest against gun violence. And earlier today, they participated in the national walkout, filling UVA's entire lawn. As the clock struck 10 on grounds, students and staff emptied out of classrooms and buildings, all for one common cause.
This issue of gun violence can destroy communities.
Exactly 1 month after the school shooting in Parkland, Florida, National Walkout Day commemorates the lives lost.
Gun violence doesn't discriminate.
And protest gun violence.
It shouldn't be a Democrat or Republican issue. It should be an issue everyone cares about because people are dying because of gun violence.
Student Council hosted Wednesday's walkout and say the message is simple.
Enough is enough.
They want stricter gun laws.
We're not saying that guns inherently are bad, that we should have no guns in the United States, but we're saying that there should be certain kind of checkpoints and procedures, just like an individual operating a vehicle.
The names of those killed in the Parkland High School shooting were read aloud while the crowd chanted.
We will remember.
People then bowed their heads for a 17-minute moment of silence to commemorate the 17 lives lost.
The students who died, some of them were Republican, some of them were Democrat, but they died because of gun violence.
Once the demonstration ended, some people made their way inside the rotunda to write letters to their lawmakers.
I'm really hoping that seeing how people united together will instill a change in lawmakers and say, hey, this is not a Democrat versus Republican issue. This is something we should care about because it protects students and it protects other people around the country.
Student Council is also trying to organize transportation to the March for Lives in D.C. on the 24th of the month. We'll bring you that coverage of the march getting underway on your NBC29 News at 11.
Megan Moriarty live for us on grounds at the University of Virginia tonight.
High schools across Central Virginia took part in the national walkout. At Albemarle High School, more than 500 students left their classrooms to stand in solidarity with students in Parkland, Florida. NBC29's Taylor Gleason was there and is in our Charlottesville newsroom tonight. Hi, Taylor.
Well, Casey, they took 17 minutes to honor each of the Parkland victims. Students crowded the bus parking lot behind the school, calling on legislators for change and action. Now, the demonstration against gun violence included chanting, speeches, and music in the parking lot. Students told NBC29 the demonstration was not to demand stricter gun laws, but to stand in solidarity with the school shooting victims across the U.S. Students say they hope to continue the conversation in and out of classrooms for many months to come.
Students get written off as being too young or uneducated enough to take a stand in what they believe in, but I think this is one of those chances where students have to say something because it directly relates to them.
Organizers say they were shocked by the large number of students that showed up to participate, and students say they plan to walk out again in the upcoming weeks, and they'll be taking part in the National Walk in D.C. coming up on April 24th.
All right, Taylor Gleason live for us tonight. Thank you, Taylor.
Students at Monticello High School in Albemarle County also walked out this morning. Dozens gathered on the football field to stand in solidarity with students nationwide and remember the victims in Florida. as well as call for safer schools. Police stood by to ensure safety.
Students in the Shenandoah Valley demonstrated this morning, but they did not leave the school buildings. Stanton High School freshman Cece Bernard helped organize the event there. She shared these images of students and staff lining the hallways to stand in solidarity with the victims in Florida. Bernard says the student-led walkout went smoothly.
There were so many people there, and it was really beautiful because everybody was really quiet like we wanted them to be, and so it wasn't just an excuse to get out of class, which a lot of people were worried about. Like, everybody there knew what they were there for, you know, because we were fighting for our safety.
School leaders in Stanton, Waynesboro, and Augusta County shared statements of support and offered a safe place for students to either protest or remember the Parkland victims.
At Charlottesville High School, students had a slightly different visual way to remember the victims of the Florida shooting. They want lawmakers to know even though many of them can't vote, their voices matter too. NBC29's Pete DeLuca picks up our team coverage. He's live at Charlottesville High School. Good evening, Pete.
Steve, Casey, hundreds of Charlottesville High School students poured out of the building this morning and walked to this field where they protested gun violence for 17 minutes. 1 minute for each of the lives lost last month at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
Our generation reacts differently to tragedy. We have to.
Hundreds of Charlottesville high schoolers walked out when the clock struck 10. 17 of their peers laid in the grass, remembering the 17 victims at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
There's power in numbers. There's power in a multitude of voices, and we have that in Charlottesville here, and we have it with all of our classmates across the nation.
Students made their voices heard, calling for change through a megaphone.
Our voices have been given platforms. What will we do with them?
I hope that people will begin to realize that we have a voice, that teenagers are smart, articulate, and we're passionate about our safety and about the future of this nation. And I hope they realize that this is not a one-day thing.
They hope lawmakers hear them.
Primarily, I'd like to see assault rifles banned. There is no reason that a civilian should have access to those.
That's why they're urging students 18 and older to step into the voting booth and help make change happen.
Our votes matter. Every vote matters. We need our voice to be heard, and the best way to do that is through getting legislation passed.
Now, CHS students say their efforts will not stop here. More than 200 of them are expected to take part in the March to End Gun Violence in the nation's capital on March 24th.
Pete DeLuca live for us at Charlottesville High School tonight.
Senators Tim Kaine and Mark Warner were among the lawmakers who joined students in today's national walkout at the U.S. Capitol. Students marched through Washington, D.C. and chanted outside the Capitol building, calling on lawmakers to keep people safe from gun violence. This as House representatives approved a school safety bill that provides funding for training and coordination between schools and police. A closer look at how all this played out all across the country is ahead on Nightly News.
Louisa County High School students did not walk out today, but they, along with staff and administration, came together for sessions to promote unity, respect, and safety. During the session, this student-created video was shown that asks, "Where is the love?" using the song by the Black Eyed Peas. Administrators say that was a powerful moment ahead of talks with law enforcement and other school leaders.
A Charlottesville man will spend more than a decade behind bars for his role in a deadly shootout. A judge handed down a 15-year active sentence for 25-year-old Isaiah Franklin, prompting tears on both sides of the courtroom today. Franklin pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in November. In court, he apologized to the family of Denzel Morton. The 23-year-old was killed in the shooting along Earhart Street in July of 2016. Family and friends of Franklin testified that he was a good kid, but grew up in a bad environment.
A man is now charged in a hit-and-run crash involving a jogger in Greene County that turned fatal. 49-year-old Andrew Yost of Barbersville died from his injuries at UVA Medical Center on Saturday. State police say he was jogging along Route 657 on February 19th when a Toyota sedan crossed the center line, hit him, and took off. State police identified the driver as 29-year-old Guy Wild of Barbersville. He's charged with felony hit-and-run. A truck fire caused big backups for drivers this morning heading over Afton Mountain. This was the scene when a rig hauling produce caught fire in the eastbound lanes of I-64 near Waynesboro. It took hours to clean up and caused additional backups on Route 250.
A trucking company is laying off nearly 200 workers in Zion Crossroads. Schneider National Carriers notified 181 employees of its facility in the Walmart distribution center that they'll be laid off starting at the end of April. The majority of employees affected by the layoff are drivers. In a letter sent to Louisa County, the company says it understands that Walmart is contracting with a different carrier, which may pick up some or all of those Schneider workers.
Students who attend Piedmont Virginia Community College could be seeing a small increase in their tuition. This afternoon, PVCC had a board meeting on its main campus in Albemarle County. President of the college, Frank Friedman, says the school is still waiting on the General Assembly to learn what its state funding will be. With that up in the air, Friedman says the State Board for Community Colleges will probably take action on a tuition increase at its May meeting.
I would expect a very small tuition increase for next year, probably in the 2 to 3% range. And those are our two major sources of revenue, the state appropriation and then tuition revenue. And then, of course, grants and other contractual things.
We're told even with the possible tuition increase, PVCC would still cost less than $5,000 a year for a full-time student.
Albemarle County is among the Virginia localities with the healthiest populations. The new rankings from the University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute and the Robert Wood Foundation place Albemarle as 6th best in Virginia. Loudoun County came out on top, and the city of Charlottesville comes in 52nd. The lighter the color on the map, the better the ranking. They're based on how long people live and how healthy people feel. We have a news link for you at NBC29.com where you can check out those rankings for yourself. People living in Charlottesville and surrounding Central Virginia counties can find out exactly how safe their drinking water is. The Virginia Cooperative Extension provides the testing for $55, and Virginia Tech researchers analyze the samples for metals, bacteria, and more. Homeowners receive the kits and instructions during a program kickoff meeting on May 21st. Results should be back by the end of June. Well, the wind made it especially cold out there today,
Yeah,
didn't
less
it?
than a week now until the official start to spring. Let's hope Mother Nature cooperates.
Let's hope. Eric, what do you got for us?
Oh, we've got some more chills. We've got some more March wind. There's the view right now from our Charlottesville camera, high above the Lewis and Clark building. Sun setting this evening at 7:19. Yes, it's been a blustery day, and temperatures really no bargain. Most of us held in the 30s. Only a few kind of sneaked into the low 40s this afternoon. 40 the afternoon high, 37 currently. Feels like 30, and we've had gusts over 20, 30 miles per hour. 32 currently in Waynesboro. Feels like 23, an afternoon high only of 36 after that morning low of 25. Some other readings include 32 in Waynesboro, 29 Stanton, 36 in Madison, 35 there in Standardsville, 37 in Palmyra, and currently 37 in Orange. And you factor in a little bit of wind, and most locations are in the 20s and low 30s. So it will be a cold night. It's going to be breezy, and it's going to be windy as we go into the day tomorrow. These are some of the gusts today, and as mentioned, many gusts over 20, 30 miles per hour. Obviously, wintergreen, a 45 mile per hour gust, and it's those areas, especially elevations above 2,000 feet, that are going to experience the strongest winds as we go into tomorrow. And this advisory, a wind advisory, begins at 2 a.m. It'll continue through the day tomorrow. It includes the Blue Ridge, the Shenandoah Valley. Strongest gusts at the higher elevations, but easily 20, 35 mile per hour gust. And again, those higher elevations, gust of over, approaching or just over 50. Nothing of the magnitude of what we experienced Friday 2 weeks ago, but it will be a windy day tomorrow. Temperatures overnight generally in the mid to upper 20s, and in the morning stepping out, it'll feel, of course, like it's in the teens to around 20 with that wind. And here's just a model's depiction of wind speeds as we go into the overnight period during the day tomorrow. Now, the winds are going to be briefly out of the southwest, and they're going to shift around to the west during the day. That's actually going to drive the temperatures up tomorrow. So here we're around 7 a.m. You see those wind gusts, and they pick up a little bit more as we go into the afternoon, and then it'll start to die down later tomorrow night. But certainly it'll be a chilly day with the wind, even though temperatures will be higher than they were today. Most locations across Central Virginia low to middle 50s, but only around the upper 40s to around 50 west of the Blue Ridge. So tomorrow, windy day. Headlines Thursday. We're cooler on Friday behind the front, temperature around 50. And we'll watch Saturday for some scattered showers. Still some issues with the timing of when this arrives. If it arrived early enough, there could be a little wintry mix, but we're not expecting a whole lot from that system on Saturday for St. Patrick's Day. Things are quiet now on NBC29's exclusive dual-pole triple Doppler radar. There's been ongoing snow showers throughout the day farther to our west, and here's that big area of low pressure, the nor'easter, up into Atlantic Canada now. With the combination of that big low and high pressure out across the Central Plains states creates a pressure gradient, and that's continuing to usher in the March winds and still reinforcing this chill. We have a trough or dip in the jet stream that's still in play here. It'll edge up a little higher or move out of the region as we get into the weekend, but again, those temperatures will come up a little bit more by Sunday before ahead of our next system. So in the morning, we'll start in the 20s. It'll feel like it's in the teens. A windy day, as mentioned, generally in the low 50s. And then as we head into Friday, we'll start in the 20s. Friday's a cooler day, anywhere from the mid-40s to around 50 for highs. Partly cloudy tonight, breezy and cold. Temperatures in the 20s, but feeling like it's in the teens. Michael and Son 7-day forecast. A windy day tomorrow. We've certainly had our headline of wind so far this month. So March living up to that as the March lion continues to roar here. A little cooler on Friday. We'll watch Saturday. It's just a timing issue of when that moisture arrives. We're not expecting a whole lot of rain or all-day rain, but some showers around Saturday. Sunday's the dry day, probably an average temperature in the upper 50s. And then we'll continue to watch Monday night into Tuesday. We do see a storm with the models, but still some discrepancies on temperatures and where it'll track, and we could still have the potential for some rain and or snow, but plenty of time to watch that over the next several days.
Happy first day of spring for all of us.
Thank you.
Eric, thank you. Well, from fruits to meats, people have all kinds of pie on their brain or in their stomachs tonight as they celebrate Pie Day. We'll take you inside the rush at a Charlottesville pie shop celebrating a special anniversary next at 6.
People in Charlottesville are celebrating the mathematical ratio on this National Pie Day by grabbing a yummy circular treat. The Pie Chest just off to the downtown mall opened on Pie Day in 2015. The line into the restaurant has been out the door for the majority of the day. The owner says people continuing to support her passion is what keeps the business booming.
It's pretty cool that we opened on 3.1415 at 926 3 years ago, so we try to keep with the pie number and make a day of it.
The Pie Chest sells sweet and savory pies and is open 7 days a week. Well, the top-ranked UVA basketball team is already headed down to Charlotte for the NCAA tournament.
Plus, UVA baseball hosts James Madison University this afternoon. Highlights next in sports.
Tonight, a coast-to-coast look at today's classroom walkout of the one-month anniversary of the Parkland massacre and a pair of frightening gun accidents involving adults in schools, plus the outrage over that mid-air pet tragedy when we see you back here tonight.
Isaiah Wilkins and the #1 ranked UVA basketball team are already in Charlotte for the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. The guys got on the bus about noon today. DeAndre Hunter is making the trip with the team, but he will not play. The Hoos took a plane to Charlotte, North Carolina. Virginia is in the big dance for a school record 5th straight year. The Hoos will play Maryland, Baltimore County Friday night. The Cavaliers are the top seed in the tournament and a #1 seed in the South region. According to odds makers, Virginia's chances of reaching the Final Four have already dropped with the loss of ACC 6th man of the year, DeAndre Hunter, out. But Sports Director Marty Hutloff shows us the Hoos need everyone to step up if they're to make an NCAA tournament run.
The loss of DeAndre Hunter is a big blow for the Hoos. Hunter's versatility, defense, and athleticism can't really be replaced. Hunter is Virginia's leading scorer off the bench, averaging 9 points per game. Now it's next man up.
No, there's always going to be challenges, and again, there's so many good teams out there. You take it a game at a time, as the old adage goes. You embrace the challenge, and you don't look too far ahead, and you just say, all right, this is what's in front of us. And the guys, I think, have step by step done that.
Virginia has had different guys step up all season. At the ACC tournament, it was big men Mamadi Diakite and Jack Salt. Diakite had 10 points in the quarterfinals against Louisville, including 6 straight points at a crucial point in the second half. Salt made some big buckets in the semifinals against Clemson, scoring all 8 of his points in the second half.
Our front court is such they rebound, they screen, they run the floor. They do a lot of the little things, but we also think there is a balance where they need to look to get catches and make some plays when the opportunities present themselves. And I thought that's what you saw and what happened. I think that's been important.
The Hoos started this season unranked and has gelled into a team worthy of the #1 overall seed heading into the NCAA tournament.
To see where they're at now, it's been quite a run for sure, and now you get into this tournament, you want to obviously keep it going. Unique is the word I'd use, and special. I mean, I know those are probably overused words, but it's really going to be about how you play and how you maximize your abilities, and this group has really come close to maxing out in a good way.
The 21st ranked Virginia baseball team begins a 6-game homestand hosting in-state foe JMU tonight. Stat product Bobby Nicholson got the start. JMU is threatening in the top of the first with a runner at third, but Nicholson ends the inning with a strikeout. He adds another K in the second and another in the third. The sophomore righty worked 6 innings and finished with 7 strikeouts, allowing just 1 earned run on 5 hits and no walks. Alex Tappan gets the Hoos on the board in the 4th inning. It's his 8th RBI of the season, and it gives Virginia a 1-0 lead. The Dukes do tie the game in the bottom 6th, in the top of the 6th on a sac fly. The score is tied 1-1 right now in the 8th inning, guys. We'll have complete highlights for you tonight at 11.
All right, thank you, Wolf.
We'll be right back. Finally tonight, a Barbersville man who bought a lottery ticket in Albemarle County is $100,000 richer.
Joe Ramos picked up a Powerball ticket at a 7-Eleven on Route 29 ahead of the March 3rd drawing and hit 4 out of the first 5 numbers. The retiree says he has no immediate plans for his winnings. Some bills.
Congratulations.
Yeah, very sensible. I like it.
Nice. I don't know if we've struck the lottery here with the March weather, but nonetheless, we still have the winter side of March that we're dealing with. Cold start in the morning, temperatures in the 20s. Winds will certainly headline tomorrow. Temperatures will climb into the low 50s across much of central Virginia, but only around 50 or so in the valley. But those winds are going to be strong tomorrow. We have a wind advisory for the Blue Ridge and points to the west. So you look ahead at the Michael and Son 7-day forecast. Cooler on Friday, and then Saturday, the chance of some scattered showers. Still have to watch the timing on when that arrives, but nonetheless, we'll see temperatures a little higher on Sunday, which is about an average temperature for March, and then still early next week, some questions, but we could see a storm that could bring some rain or snow.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful evening. Nightly News is up next.